Well, Afghanistan very much in focus, of course, after the sad news over the weekend that 3 more British soldiers, paratroopers, had died there in action, killed by a suicide bomber in Helmand province, bringing the number of dead military to 100 over the last 7 years since Britain's been involved there. Well, let's have a look at the impact the British have made and what else is going on in the country. Now, joining me is Chief Ajmal Khan Zazai, who's a tribal leader from Afghanistan. Very good evening to you, Chief Ajmal. Tell me for a start about the role of the British forces there, how they're viewed, and whether they are making progress within the sort of overall hopes you have for your country.
Well, first of all, the British are playing a significant role in the war area in Helmand, but unfortunately, there are a lot of soldiers are dying, and the number went to 3 digits. Now, that's something with the British nation realizes that it could be to 4 digits. Now, it's all the numbers. Now, the problem with the war, I don't believe any war has been won without the support of nation, without the support of people. The British are doing a great job in the region in order to tackle the problems with Al-Qaeda and the Taliban. But unfortunately, a lot of innocent lives have been lost throughout all this campaign. And one of the reasons that the people are not siding with the government and also not in the favor of the foreign troops in Afghanistan is because a lot of the accident happened, you call it. A lot of innocent lives were lost. But other than that, the British are doing an excellent job, and I think we can...
What worries you, I suppose, is your government and how much it really represents people in the country?
Definitely. I mean, we have a democratic government, which we elected back in 2004, thinking the Afghan nation that this government is going to put the country on the right track. But unfortunately, the government has failed because of the corruption, because of the warlords are in that government, and the same warlords manipulated that government and failed it, unfortunately.
And who does the government represent? I mean, what percentage of the population does it genuinely represent at the moment?
Well, I think we were hoping for this, that the government will represent the majority of the Afghans and all the Afghans in general. But unfortunately, if you look into the parliament, these are the figures from the United Nations, that 88 to 90% of the warlords representation there. We need to look into the other ministries, into the other setup of the government. A lot of warlords are sitting there. So what we basically see, the Afghan nation did not really see their own representation in the government, plus the humiliation of the Pashtun, plus the bombing of the villages, plus the innocent lives were lost. So it all utilized, and we have a war in Afghanistan.
I mean, I'm sure the thing that most British people want to know is that their troops are out there and sacrificing their lives from time to time, sadly, that if the troops are out there, they are welcome, they are doing a good job, and they are genuinely helping to bring about long-term democracy in the country. Now, do you want them there? Are they doing a job, even if you're not necessarily happy with your government? Because obviously they could well be there for a long time if they're to stabilize the place.
Well, definitely, Jeremy, this is the point. When your soldier went to Afghanistan, when the mothers and the fathers, the sons and the daughters and the wives, they send their loved ones to Afghanistan, thinking that these soldiers will go to Afghanistan and help the Afghans in rebuilding Afghanistan. They did not send them there to be involved in a perpetrated war, which is a nonsense. We are in a situation, if the international community pulls out from Afghanistan, we're going back again to the dark ages of civil war. Maybe the country is going to be divided into a lot of pieces. Now we have to stick together. The tribes in Afghanistan have to be coming on board with the international community. This is the message that we are trying to give to the world.
But how does that happen? I mean, how's it all going to work? How do you see the bits fitting together that the British troops can be as productive as possible, help your country progress, and you can bring the disparate elements together, as you say, particularly the tribal chiefs who you represent talking to me?
Let me put it this way, Jeremy. I was in Kabul back in 2008, January 1st at your embassy. I had all the tribal chiefs from 4 provinces, and the tribal chiefs expressed their trust that they have. The Afghans, especially the Pashtuns, they have a great trust on the British. And we need to somehow utilize that and cash it in at this moment, because the country is slipping into a huge big war. You like it or you don't like it. We are getting into a war. But this is the time that we have to bring the people on board. There is a great trust between the British. The Afghans appreciate a lot the efforts which has been done by the British government, by the British troops. You speak to your troops in Afghanistan, they know far more better than the politicians here, unfortunately. They understand the reality. They know how to put the country back on the right track. So these are the things that the Afghan nation, the Afghan tribes, will be working with the international community in a different atmosphere. What I'm saying, a different atmosphere, is elections are coming in about 15, 14 months. Now, are we going to have elections? Because the country, if you look into it, 14 provinces are insecure, 146 districts are under Taliban's constant attacks. Under these circumstances, we can have fair and clean elections. So what do we have to do? We need to go back to the Afghan form of democracy, which is the Loya Jirga. I mean, possibly people who are candidates for the future presidency, they could be part of it. And it should be entirely up to the nation, to the Afghan nation, to elect their future president.
We better pick up with the elections at a future date. Thank you very much, Chief Ajmal Khan Zazai, very much for explaining a little of the background of what's going on in Afghanistan at the moment. Let's just bring you this story. Amateur footage has emerged